Welcome back. Many of you recall that I recently returned from a family vacation on the Cape, the beautiful Cape of Massachusetts. Paul and I were gone for a total of 2 weeks, and our youngest daughter, Chloe, and her boyfriend, Jack, traveled with us. The four of us went right to Martha's Vineyard, and we spent about 4 days there. And our second daughter, Haley, who lives in Boston, Massachusetts, and her boyfriend, Vin, also joined us while we were on Martha's Vineyard. We returned back, checked into our rental, which was a VRBO, and the rest of the kids joined us for 9 nights. And we took 1 day to go over and spend the entire day on the island of Nantucket. So Paul and I were blessed to be able to see Martha's Vineyard, see Nantucket, and then spend all those days on the Cape. It was an amazing trip. It was incredible. It really was a dream trip. I loved it so much. On the last day of our vacation, I believe it was the last day, I opened up the question box on my Instagram stories and asked if you had any travel or vacation questions for me. And this was really prompted because I would get direct messages. And that's really hard to keep up with, period. But especially when I'm on vacation, it's really the last thing that I want to do is answer questions. Although I do appreciate all the direct messages that I received from people making recommendations. And I talk more about that in the most recent video that I published here on YouTube, where I answered a couple of questions having to do with maintaining weight and how I navigate that, how I get back on the plan. So I pulled those questions and I tackled them in that video because there's so much that I wanted to say about vacation eating and managing things because it's hard for most people. So today I am going to answer all of the other questions that you sent me. I'll be honest with you, I've never even had the chance to read through these. I literally screenshotted and I printed these out just a few minutes ago, and I did scan through a couple real quick just to see if there was anything I didn't have an answer to, but I only got to the second page and I was like, just start filming, Tracy, it's just easier and you don't have a lot of extra time. So I am going to answer those questions, but I do talk a lot about our trip in my last video. So if you want to know more details about the trip, I share a lot of pictures. I share a lot of video clips, so check that out. Also, I have 3 separate Instagram stories if you want to see the highlights from our trip. One is Martha's Vineyard, one is Nantucket, and one is Cape Cod. So I really encourage you to go there. There's so much great footage. I also vlogged the Martha's Vineyard portion of the trip. And if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have done that having kids with us. You know, we did have, like I said, our second daughter, Haley, and her boyfriend, Vin. Vin wasn't with us all the time because he had to go back into Boston to do some work. And he had to coach a couple days of a lacrosse tournament because that's something he does on the side. And then we had Chloe and Jack. So going back, it just was too much work to do that, and inconvenience, and it really compromises you being in the moment when you vlog. If it's just Paul and I, it's completely different because he is so open to it. And he is just so supportive. And not that the kids aren't, it's just I really want to be present. And I can easily still be present when it's just Paul if I'm vlogging, but yeah, if I could go back, I wouldn't probably do it when the kids are with us. And I've mentioned before that if you're new here or you don't know this information, we alternate years. So we typically do a family winter vacation, which is just a weekend away. We do a little winter getaway every single year, usually in January, and we often tie that in with, I think it's Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. because a lot of the kids get an extra day off of work and school. And then we alternate the other vacation. It's usually in the summer. We alternate. So one year we vacation with the kids. The opposite year, just Paul and I do something on our own, although we may see some of our kids like we did last year when we went to Boston and visited with our daughter Haley, and we stayed there. And then we also went on to Newport, Rhode Island, which is another place I so love. But yes, we alternate. And I don't want to get so caught up in something like that because that could be a whole video for itself, and I've talked about it before. I want to just rapid fire dive into these questions as quickly as possible. So I'm going to try to avoid expanding because it's just hard to do a Q&A and expand on it. So starting with the first one, could you please share your best travels hacks? I would say the best traveling tip I can give you is to plan way in advance. So I would select your dates and location about 1 year out, get those reservations made, and start planning from there. And it's all about having documents, having a master packing list, and then you can copy and paste that master list and paste it into a new document, and then just delete what you don't need. For example, I'm not looking at snow gear during the summer, so I just delete that part. But I think it's all about documents, communication, and planning in advance. I'm looking for new luggage. Any suggestions? I love my away luggage. I know there's other ones. I'll link the line that my daughter Haley loves because she's a big traveler. I'll link hers as well, but away luggage has been my favorite. Did you use your time blocking sheets on vacation? She puts holiday, but that's, I know where at different locations in the country people call it different things. I know she means vacation. I did not. Do you book through VRBO, Airbnb, or direct to a private company? When vacationing with the kids, and there were 15 of us, so we always go with Airbnb and VRBO. Either one. We just get on the sites and we start shopping around, and often I put that on the kids. Because they're the ones with little ones, so I let them know the budget because Paul and I cover the rental. As of right now, that can change and the kids know it. As we phase into scaling back in the retirement years and being on a more fixed income, that may change. Our kids are perfectly fine with that. But we need space. Again, 15 to sleep. And we had an extra bedroom because our fourth daughter, Carly, and her husband couldn't go. And for military reasons, he couldn't. And she's got a newer place of employment, and she really couldn't have gotten work off. She does work remotely, but she needs all of her equipment. And she was okay with it. She was okay with it. She wasn't sad. It wasn't anything like that. She was okay with it, and we were too. Of course, we missed her. But yes, VRBO or Airbnb. Now, when Paul and I travel, just the two of us, we prefer a hotel. I like a hotel gym, and we just prefer a hotel. Link to the house you stayed at. Yes, I will put the link to the rental in the description box below. Hi, Tracy. Do you mainly eat out or do you mostly cook at your accommodation? When it's all of us as a family, I would say that most meals take place at our accommodations, but not all. It's a mixture. It's a mixture, but when you talk about like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, I would say most of the eating for everyone is taking place at the rental, but yes, we are also eating out, which is something we all enjoy. So we see that as an experience where some people don't see eating as an experience we do in our family. So it's a combination. When Paul and I travel by ourselves, we do eat out one time per day. And we have those restaurants and reservations made way in advance, just like we did for this particular trip. So a lot of the places that I would get direct messages from viewers making recommendations, we already had reservations at those dining establishments. So we do a lot of research, we're foodies, and eating is part of the experience of a vacation for us. And then the other thing we did on this trip, and we're starting to do, is splitting it up between couples. So Kirsten and Tim had a night where they cooked. McKenna and Bobby had a night where they cooked. Haley and Vin had a night, but they chose to take us all out. And then Paul and I had a night, and I had our whole night planned. I hadn't done the grocery shopping, and I decided last minute I wanted to take everyone out because there was a particular place that we probably wouldn't have gotten to because we didn't have a free night, and we really wanted to hit it. So Paul and I covered that night in place of making our meal. Dear Tracy, how to enjoy vacation with little kids and not just taking care of your kids in different areas. This is something that came up for me on our vacation. When you have little ones, and it depends on the age. So for Kirsten and Tim, this vacation was pretty easy for them because June is 3. And can be a little bit more independent. You don't have to watch her like a hawk. She knows right from wrong. And Marin was not even crawling yet. She's just about ready to start crawling. So she wasn't mobile. So they had a pretty easy time. And then Kaylee is 13 and she brought a friend. McKenna and Bobby, they were in a different situation because Mac is a toddler and he turned 1 in May. So he's what, 13, 14 months, and he's really busy as that age would be. They also nap, and there's just a lot that you have to work with. And at one time, McKenna was just frustrated, and she's like, oh, it's supposed to be vacation. And I said, it is vacation though. So what you have to remember when you have small children that are dependent on you and you have to have all eyes on them, what are you expecting your vacation from? Because you are on vacation from work, you are on vacation from taking care of your home, you are on vacation from the majority of your life in a different location, but you're not going to be on vacation from your kids, right? It would be like if I needed a vacation from my husband, I wouldn't go with my husband, right? If you want to have a vacation without the kids, you can't take the kids. And yes, if the grandparents are there, when we have all the family, everyone is pitching in. So you're getting a lot of help, but you're still doing the grunt work because you know your child and they do want you most. So I think expectations are really big here. And that's where Paul and I with 5, we just knew vacations are no vacation, not from the kids, but it's a vacation from other areas of life. And we thought vacations were quite exhausting. With 5, quite exhausting. We don't anymore. Love grown children. This person put, how come you don't work off your phone? Laptop is bulky to carry, especially on vacation. I'm assuming this person also runs a business. I don't know because I think it's hard to tell. I run a business, so most people do their work on a computer for business, and I'm sorry that your laptop is bulky. Mine is not. Mine is very small. Whoops, hit myself. Mine is very small, compact, so I don't carry one of those big laptops or heavy laptops. I love my Apple. I'm just going to say it. Because my accounts are already up, all the different accounts that I do my admin work, and I like to see it in the big screen. I don't do very little of my business work is done on my phone. I'm also not a phone person. There's no addiction to this. And a lot of it is because I'm not on social media. While I post, I'm not a scroller. I don't watch YouTube. I don't have TikTok. I have no interest in spending my time in those areas. So I think it's really what serves you. And it sounds to me like this person running her business and using a laptop doesn't. She could be younger too. Our eyesight gets compromised as we get older. How do you budget for food going out? Do you splurge and go with the flow or budget? We budget for everything. Everything. There's always a budget. The budget is already going for the next vacation, so it's always in motion. How to get back on track with eating well, exercise, daily routine, and work schedule. I actually answered that question in the last video because it was all related to this, so check it out. And then the next one, eating and drinking plan for this vacation, fasting, calorie limits, how did you balance? That question is also in that previous video, so I will have it linked. Check it out. Do you ever experience bickering between family members on long vacations? We don't. Crazy to say this, we don't. We just get along. We just have such a good relationship. I can't stress that enough. And the sons-in-laws, and the guys who are future sons-in-laws, they're amazing. Like we nailed it. We just nailed it. So there is no bickering. It's crazy. I know. How can you spend 2 weeks together with no bickering or then the rest of the family for 10 days? It just doesn't happen. We don't bicker in general. So yeah, but I know a lot of families do, and I think it's so unfortunate. But that seed was planted way early on, or that baton was passed from generation to generation. How was the humidity at this time of year? Was it muggy? Would you choose a different date next time? So we nailed the weather, but I kind of picture New England to be similar to where I live in Michigan, where we're not quite muggy yet. June is not super muggy. Typically, July is when it starts to get muggy here going into August, and I picture it to be the same there. If anything, we were worried that we'd be a little chilly because we're on the ocean, but we literally nailed the weather. I had followers that DM'd me and said, you hit the jackpot with the weather, and we really just did. So would I go a different time? Well, I would love to go during a lot of other seasons, but I thought we went at the perfect time because it wasn't busy yet and crowded yet. Is your holiday wardrobe different to what you wear back home? No, I can't say it is. I have a curated wardrobe that I've created that is absolutely beautiful. I love my pieces of clothing, and that's what I wear at home. But I'm a lounge. When I'm working from home, I'm not wearing clothes like that. But when I go out, that's how I dress, and I love it. Can you rank your favorite cities you visited? What's your most favorite? I don't know how to answer this one exactly because we weren't in any cities. So I don't know, Patricia, if you're looking for cities or you mean the towns. So cities, I would say cities that I've been to is New York, Boston, Chicago. I've been to I've been to a lot of cities, but I kind of feel like that's not what you're referencing. I love it all. I love the Cape. They're different. They're just different. I love it all. I loved Boston. We loved Newport, Rhode Island. I absolutely loved Martha's Vineyard. I loved Nantucket. I love the Cape. There's towns on the Cape that we loved. Chatham is amazing. While we stayed in Harwich, I think it's a great place to stay. It's right by Chatham. Really loved Chatham, but we visited other towns as well for different things, maybe to eat or something. But I would say Chatham would be my recommendation if this were a type of vacation. If someone already told me we're going to the Cape, what are some of your favorite towns? We went to Provincetown. Paul and I and Haley took a day while the kids were doing other things, and we did Provincetown, and that could be a vibe for someone, right? That could be a vibe for someone. Would I go back to Provincetown? Yes, but I liked the outskirts, not necessarily the town. So I liked getting out of town and walking through. It just depends on what your taste is. And then here we go. Favorite town on Martha's Vineyard, Edgartown. Loved it. Loved Oak Bluffs. Loved, what's the other one? I'm already losing it. Oak Bluffs. I can't think of it. Well, I'll put it in here. The name of the other town, and then Edgartown, which is where we stayed. So Edgartown would be, my first pick, and Paul's too. What are your favorite things to do while on vacation? Experiences. So I even shared that eating for us is an experience. It is, and that won't resonate for some people. But that's a big one. So we do a lot of research in that area. So having cocktails and nice wine and fine dining type food, or just, it doesn't even have to be fine dining, but it has to be fine food. An oyster bar is going to rock my world, but a lobster shack is going to rock my world. Fine food, good food. That's really important to us. And then doing things. We went on this Cape Cod Rail Trail and we biked. That was one of the highlights of something we did as an activity while on the Cape. We went to an alpaca farm. I love to walk around charming towns, charming little towns, and just take everything in. I love the shopping, the little shops in the boutique. So I'm not a shopper, meaning a mall shopper. I have no desire to shop where all the name brand stores or luxury brand stores are. That doesn't interest me. I'm going to go online for stuff like that. But I like all the little shops and eateries, stop in here and get a drink and then shop the little streets, little boutiques. I love that. Looking at flowers and houses and all of that. I love the water. While I'm not a beach girl, I love the ocean. I love the lakes of Michigan. Absolutely love the water. But I'm not a beach girl, meaning lay on the beach. Lay on the beach and get a suntan isn't really my jam. But I love the water. To hear the water, to look at the water, just, I love it. Would love for you to share all the systems you use to prepare for travel, vacation, and while on vacation. Having documents, having shared documents. So we had shared documents. Communication is a system in itself. And starting early. I pack extremely early so I can see what I need. I don't pack, I pull. I pull everything, put it on a garment rack, pull everything, even if I need to use something. I have that garment rack and all of those clothes in a place that's not in the main part of the house where I can reference something, but I do everything weeks in advance, and it serves me so well because I'm a stress avoider if it's in my control. How do you plan what to do, where to go in advance? Well, we all know what everyone likes, and then research. We research it, and then it's all dialed in. How to still eat healthy while on the road when not having access to a kitchen. So while I celebrate, I eat indulgent while I'm actually on the trip, I prepare all my traveling food ahead of time, and we traveled by car, so I wasn't on an airplane where I couldn't do that. That would be a little bit more difficult, but then you're right there. So I just have a system. Everything is a system with me. All my food was ready, prepped, and I ate completely clean the whole travel there and the whole travel home. Something you wish you had brought. Can't think of one thing, and I think that's because I'm such a great planner. And while I wouldn't say I'm a light packer, I pack what I need. I don't ever come home and think, wow, I overpacked. I've never overpacked. I just take what I need. I take what I need. I take what I want. I have a system. I have a plan. It's well executed, and yeah, I'm okay with it. Who does the meal planning preparing? Does everyone take turns? I talked about that already. How did you organize your family for the group vacation? The logistics behind your successful, and I don't see the rest of it. Communicating, talking. The kids selected where we were going. There was 2 options that we had 2 different destinations, and everyone talked it through. And finally, I just told 3 of the daughters to just figure it out. They figured it out and then they told us. And then I gave them the budget for the rental and they selected the rental. I gave my one daughter my debit card information and it's all smooth sailing. Newsletter with must-see, must-do, and best restaurants. What was your budget for rental, etc.? Well, I'm not going to share what our budget was, but I'm sure if you click on the link to see our VRBO, you'll kind of have an idea of what I don't know what it's renting for right now, and that changes according to the time of the year. So that will give you an idea. And again, we have a lot of people to sleep. It originally started with 17 of us. It's just only 15 were on the trip. So we had a main house and a guest house, and that was one combined rental. So the rental part is the big expense. So we have a system with how it all works, and it's very methodical. Hi Tracy, what a fantastic vacation. Please share your top 3 locations for quaint shops. Chatham was a beautiful place for quaint shops, and that's on the Cape. In Martha's Vineyard, Edgartown was amazing. And then location, even Harwich had some cute little shops. But I would say on the Cape, Chatham was definitely a highlight. The shops in Provincetown wouldn't be my style. And I could think of a couple places that they're similar to, but I don't want to offend anyone if you like those areas. But it reminded me of a couple other places. Again, I loved Provincetown, but not the main town, the shopping part. I never went into one shop there. Ate at a couple of really nice restaurants. So how do you research the best restaurants? I covered that. Do you have any future plans for traveling internationally, and how far out do you plan? I don't have any plans to travel internationally. It will probably, I'm guessing, take place at some point, but I don't have any current plans. And I've only traveled internationally once. I went to Germany, Switzerland, and Paris, France. And I did not have the best experience, and it's not because of where I went. It was other factors. What were the differences between Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, and Nantucket from your perspective? Well, the Cape is bigger, so it's big. It's not an island. Martha's Vineyard is a bigger island than Nantucket. I feel like Martha's Vineyard requires more days, more time. But Nantucket had a lot of Edgartown vibes, so it made sense. We loved Nantucket because our favorite town on Martha's Vineyard was Edgartown, so there was some similarities, meaning it's really nice. It's so nice. It's so nice. I could go on and on, but yes. What did you pack? How many of each item? Did you do laundry? Yes, we had laundry there, and I really don't have a breakdown of what I packed and how much of each item, and that would just take too long, but I do have a packing video. Check it out from, I think that's when I traveled. I think I have one when I traveled to New York City and maybe when I traveled internationally. Do you find it hard to get back into your routines when you get home? I covered that in the last video where I covered these, so check that out. Did you plan an outfit for each day or try to mix and match? A little bit of both. I had an idea. I basically printed a document with every single outfit and what that consisted of, and then I would put down below what I could use for another outfit, and then I would have a document for that outfit. So I had the most beautiful system down to jewelry and everything, handbags, shoes, belts. So well put together. So well put together. That's just how I like to do things though. What size away suitcase do you prefer, and would you recommend this suitcase? I would, but my away pieces, the only luggage that I have is my carry-on because I wouldn't be willing to spend that kind of money for a checked bag. A checked bag is going to be a cheap bag, and I don't even care what I get as long as it holds a lot. I just couldn't stay up late when so used to getting up early. I'd be miserable. How do you do it? Yeah, it takes a couple of days, Laura, for me to adjust, but it's in my best interest to do that when traveling with the kids, but that is the one downside. But I'm naturally not a morning person. My natural clock wants to be up later, so I kind of adjusted, but I think there was only one night where I got to bed at past 10. So I still, and everyone was up. Everyone was up. It didn't matter. I was going to bed. How did you find your rental? You can just go to the VRBO or Airbnb, search your location. You can put all of your whatever you need, you can put in there. It's similar to if you were reserving a hotel room. It's pretty much the same thing. Can you share your itinerary, how you budgeted, in your communication to all who came? I covered that. Is Cape Cod and the islands a destination you would revisit for vacation? Yes, absolutely. Can't wait to get back. But then I followed up saying, would I recommend this if someone were to ask me? And I just don't have that answer unless I knew, again, what do you like to do on vacation? What are your interests? What activities do you like to do? What's your budget? Because this by no means is a cost-friendly vacation. While could it be? In some ways, but if you're not staying with someone pro bono, like a family member, and you have the expense of accommodations, right there, you're just not going to pay for, it's going to be pricey because location, location, location. Just like if you were to have a brick and mortar business, location, location, location. If you want to hold the value of your home, location, location, location. Schools for your children, location, location, location. So there's things that I would want to know. We loved it. Every one of us. No one wanted to come home. We wanted more time. It was very melancholy leaving. I can't wait to get back. So much. But we all have different taste. I have friends and family members that I don't know that they would love this area like us, nor is it maybe in their budget. I don't know. Or would they be willing to spend there? But the vacations they take aren't my style. I see people travel all the time to destinations that I've either been to and I'm like, or because it's just so not me, or us, I should say. Or they travel to locations I just simply have no interest in, and it's based on what I know about it. It doesn't mean that it's not beautiful for them. We just have different tastes. It's kind of like food. I've shared before. I don't ask the server what they recommend. How would they know? How would the server know what I like, right? If someone asks me for a dining recommendation, I'm going to ask them some questions. What is your budget? What do you like to eat? What type of atmosphere do you like? What's your vibe? What's your style? Then I can make a great recommendation all the way from a pub to a fine dining establishment. I would be great for recommendations because I would make it not about me, but rather about them. Do you do laundry while on holiday? I'm so glad you had this special time with your family. Thank you so much. Yes, we did have laundry there. And I think I gave a couple of items to Kirsten one time when she was throwing something in the wash. Pajamas, because I only packed 2. So I wore one pair, I packed 3. I wore, because we also stayed overnight traveling. So I had travel pajamas. I left them in my car that I only wore when we were traveling back and forth, although when we came home, we did it all in one day. But don't forget the video that I filmed before this one, the last video that I published, there's pictures, there's video clips. It shows a lot of vlog content, and I share a lot more about the trip in that video. So check it out. And then I, at some point, will get the vlog together, hopefully soon, so that you can see the wonderful island of Martha's Vineyard. Oh. I will say this. We wished the vacation was longer, and I think everyone pretty much felt that way, although I don't know about McKenna and Bobby, and that would only be because of Mac. Plus, Bobby got a new job that he was starting as soon as he was getting home. So I think that had to be on his mind too, but I don't know. We never even talked about it. They never said it, but I know everyone else, Kirsten and Tim, I know they were sad to leave. We just had such a great time. Chloe and Jack, I think, were ready to get back, but I think that's that young age kind of too, and then they knew they had to get right back to work. Paul and I, we could have stayed longer. We probably would have looked into it had we not had Chloe and Jack with us, because I can work anywhere, and Paul was still off from work. So Martha's Vineyard, we arrived on a Monday. We left on a Thursday. It would have been nice to have maybe 2 more days, because we like to move slow. We're just not fast paced. We like to take our time. We could sit at a dining establishment for 2-3 hours and have drinks and maybe a small plate and have another drink and have a small plate. So sitting out on the water, no hurrying, no rush, no gotta go. That is not our style at all. In fact, we like to go back to our hotel room in the afternoon, chill, do some work, play some catch up, whatever you want to do when you go back to your hotel room, and then go out for dinner. Or something like that. An early dinner would be our style. So Paul and I vacation a little bit more low key than when we're with all the kids, but that's okay. That's why we do every other year. And then Nantucket, we just did a day trip. So I would stay there probably 3 nights, 2 to 3 nights. I think I would want 3 days, 3 full days. So I think Martha's Vineyard, I want 5 full days. So that doesn't mean your arrival day and your departing day. I want 5 full days, and I would say Nantucket, I want 3 full days, and then the Cape, I want the whole summer. I want the whole summer. Yeah, that would be a dream. That would be a dream. So thank you for the questions. Be sure to check out the other video. I really encourage, if you want to see all the nuggets from this trip, it's so much great content, check out my Instagram highlights. So go to my Instagram, those little bubbles, Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard. You are in for a show, I assure you. So thanks for the questions. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you on Instagram stories. 3 Week Intense members, I'll see you there. And the rest of you, I'll have a video coming out, who knows when. All right, have a good one. Take care.